First there was 12, and this week only 8 teams remain. The NFL playoff action kicked off this weekend, and it's now the time to scrape our dishes clean and prepare a brand new 7-layer dip that will last through this weekend's matchup. Whether you dip pita chips or tortilla chips, we're all invested in the road to football mania. I mean the Super Bowl. Steelers fans don't have much to be happy about this week, and as a matter of fact, one could say that they're mad. Stark Ravens mad, that is, and it was Russell Wilson versus Lamar Jackson. And I have not seen a Wilson this beached and washed up since the movie Castaway starring Tom Hanks. Lamar Jackson threw for 175 yards, finding Bateman and Hill in the end zone for touchdowns, while Russell Wilson did throw for over 250 yards, and he also found Pickens and Jefferson for a score apiece. The deciding factor of this game would be Derrick Henry, who ran it to the house himself 2 times, with the final score reading Steelers 14, Ravens 28. Things will continue to be stressful for Steelers fans as the following players' contracts loom towards free agency. Kyle Allen, Mike Williams, Jalen Warren, Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson, and some other guys. Justin Fields, Skroanek, Najee Harris, what the heck, Louder Milk, Makatavik, Russell Wilson won't last a week. Did you guys honestly think I could go one season of this show without doing We Didn't Start the Fire? Of course I was going to do it. It's a time-honored tradition. And the LA Chargers did the time-honored tradition and laid down for the Houston Texans. Justin Herbert laid down in the middle of the field and did the J.O.B. to Houston's hulking defense Saturday afternoon. C.J. Stroud put up 282 yards, and the Texans' defense managed 4 interceptions and 4 quarterback sacks in the Texans' 32-12 victory over the Chargers. Ladd McConkey was the sole touchdown scorer for the Chargers. The Mad Lad caught 9 passes for over 190 yards. So it's not all doom and gloom for Chargers fans, as this lad has a promising future. But what does the future hold for Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos? The Buffalo Bills slammed the door shut on Denver's playoff hopes, but Broncos fans are still over the moon now that they have surpassed mediocrity. The Broncos and the playoffs have not played together nicely since the Coyote stunt double and nationwide insurance salesman Peyton Manning rolled into that town. But this ain't the 2015 Broncos, and though we're a decade removed from the Broncos team that had guts and had heart, but unfortunately for this year's Broncos team, said hearts and guts were left spilled all over the gridiron as the Buffalo Bills gored the Broncos 31-7. NFC North teams have been dominant this season, but that's over and done with. Eagles fans were no doubt trying to climb up the greased lampposts in celebration as the mighty Cheesehead Warriors from Wisconsin were 12 points short of a tie or winning and beating Philly. Jalen Hurts might just be a hockey fan as he copied the Las Vegas Golden Knights strategy of sitting out of games unnecessarily until it's the last possible second before the playoffs. I'm talking to you, Mark Stone. Now, while Philly has the loosest slots and sluts in the NFL, they still need to tighten their game if they're going to go to the final. And this final score was Green Bay 10, Philadelphia 22. Sunday night's lock of the week game was all killer, no filler, and despite a valiant effort from Baker and his friends, it would be Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting a fat lip, the L, and a sum of over 41 points scored in the game. In the good book, it tells us that Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. But one thing the parables of Jesus could not predict is Jaden Daniels finding Olamide Zacchaeus, completing 3 crucial catches, setting up for a game-winning field goal with only a handful of seconds left on the clock. If Tampa Bay's loss wasn't enough salt in the wound, check out this voice message that was sent to the studio by an avid Washington football fan.
My fellow Americans, I was very disturbed last week when I learned that my favorite football host, Scouse from Hyper Turbo Scouse Ball, put a lock of the week on a team opposing the mighty Washington Redskins. However, I am very pleased to inform all of you that this lock was grossly misused against the city that believed in me. I tell you, I sure believed in them. So, Screws, screw you.
Always nice to hear from the fans on the show, as you never know who's going to show up. And I bet the residents of Minneapolis wish that the Vikings offense would have showed up, as it was yet another Young Bucks kind of night for the Vikes, as all 9 of their points came from Commander Will Reichard's super kicks. The LA Rams hulked up, and since they were in Arizona and not in Los Angeles, they didn't get booed. The Rams put 27 points on the board, with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua hauling ass all night and catching dimes, giving the citizens of Los Angeles something to talk about that isn't, well, you know, wildfires, politics, or $1 million home related. Now, while the LA Wildfires does sound like a great name for a happening lacrosse team, Hyper Turbo Scouseball does reach out to all of our fans who reside in LA. Should we even have any? Keep your chin up, LA. Next stop is Philly. So that was NFL Wildcard weekend, and now it is time to dissect this week's divisional round. The Houston Texans get to open up the action on Saturday afternoon, and this time it's 2-on-1. C.J. Stroud and his rowdy bunch of Houston Roughnecks have to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge Kansas City defenders, match points with Pat Mahomes' boy and his Chiefs offense, but also keep their heads on the swivel for flying dish rags from men dressed as 1870s convicts on the sidelines. The NFL officiating team has made it perfectly clear who they support this year. And while Houston's colors are red, white, and blue, and Kansas City wears red and white, but the official color of this football game is gonna be yellow, as I anticipate the referees to flag down everything except the hot dog guy. If this game is called fair and Houston doesn't sustain 14 injuries in the first quarter, I really like the idea of the Houston Texans getting the win. But since it's the Kansas Swiftie Chiefs, maybe take a Chiefs win here with a Texans spread at plus 7.5. But still, Texas pride. The primetime slot on Saturday will be occupied by the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commies. The Lions are fired up like a couple of Motor City machine guns, and Jared Goff had the week off to practice throwing bullets. The Lions will look to put holes in the sails of the Masters and Commanders as they look to bring the Commies down back to reality and cram 30 or 40 points down their throats, while everyone and their grandma sits at home eating bits and bites, rooting for every handoff given to Saquon Barkley. The thought of Nick Sirianni's Eagles winning yet another game rattles my bones. I can watch this L.A. Philly game knowing that Matt Stafford's stats are padded like 4-ply toilet paper on a 262-ply kitten. The Eagles might have the same advantages as the Kansas City Chiefs in the reffing department, but my heart says that everyone from San Jose to Ingleside will be talking about the L.A. Rams, yeah! And on Sunday at 6:30, it's the last remaining purple team as the Baltimore Raisins look to make sour grapes of the Bills Mafia in Orchard Park. Josh Allen of Buffalo and Lamar Jackson of Baltimore are neck and neck when it comes to which of these two quarterbacks should be named the MVP. Whoever wins this game wins the votes of the fans. The mighty Bills receiving trio of Cooper Coleman and Shakir have been causing chaos for their opponents, while Flowers, Likely, and Andrews have spread their games, wondering if Lamar and Henry are done prancing around with the ball. Derrick Henry may have more mass in his ass than James Cook of the Bills, but I still like Buffalo's chances of getting the win here. So I've rambled on long enough now, and you the people deserve a lock of the week that you can call and tell your mom about. It may be obvious to some, but if you want to win so solid that the entire NWO Wolfpack couldn't huff and puff and blow it down, keep your eyes on Sunday night's prize in the Battle of the Dans. You either are Team Quinn or Team Campbell, and I'm going to stick to the man with his name on the soup can. Dan Quinn is going to be staring at two things, his feet and the clock. The Detroit Lions are the Hyper Turbo Skewsball NFL Divisional Round Lock, and the Washington Commies will never, ever be the same again.